You know, in the world of WWE, there are some years that just change everything. And let me tell you, 2025 was absolutely one of those years. It was a wild time of shocking goodbyes, unbelievable returns, and the rise of a whole new generation of stars. So let's dive in and break down how this one year completely redrew the map.
So the hype going into the year was, well, it was off the charts. You had the massive new deal bringing Monday Night Raw to Netflix, which meant more eyes on WWE than ever before. But honestly, underneath all that corporate buzz, the real story, the one every single fan was talking about, was the farewell tour for an absolute legend. So, did 2025 actually deliver? Oh yeah, it was memorable, for sure. Just maybe not in the ways anybody saw coming. So let's kick things off with a storyline that was supposed to define the year, but instead it ended up flipping the whole thing on its head.
Yep, we're talking about John Cena. The plan seemed so simple, right? A final run, one last shot at that record-breaking 17th world title, and then a heroic ride-off into the sunset. It was all set up to be this huge celebration of one of the greatest careers ever. What we got was something else entirely.
And things went off the rails almost right away. In January, you have Jey Uso pulling off a surprise Royal Rumble win, which put Cena's whole championship story on ice. Then came February, and a heel turn that, nobody saw coming. And it all just set the stage for a final match in December that would leave the wrestling world completely split.
So get this, at Elimination Chamber, after more than 20 years as WWE's ultimate hero, John Cena turns his back on the fans. He lays out Cody Rhodes and sides with The Rock in a move that TWSN Sports later called the most memorable moment of the year. The guy who literally defined hustle, loyalty, and respect had just tossed it all out the window, making his final run anyone's guess. And all of this leads to his final match against Gunther. Now, Cena's entire career, his whole brand, was built on that one single phrase, never give up. But in his last moments in a WWE ring, he did exactly that. He tapped out. He submitted to a sleeper hold, a move that doesn't even cause that much pain, it just makes you pass out. He chose to quit instead of going down swinging. And that decision, man, it sent shockwaves. As PW Torch put it, for a lot of people, this wasn't just a loss, it was a betrayal of his principles. It just left this sour taste and kicked off this huge debate that's still going on. Did the weird, controversial end to his career tarnish the legacy of an all-time great? But here's the crazy thing. As one legend's story was ending in this cloud of controversy, two other legends came back to write some incredible new chapters. And honestly, their success was such a huge contrast to Cena's polarizing exit. What can you even say about CM Punk's 2025? It was just spectacular. He didn't just come back, he completely took over. From main eventing WrestleMania to having an absolute 5-star banger with Gunther at SummerSlam, he proved he hadn't lost a single step. And then capping it all off by winning the World Heavyweight Championship, he shut down any and all doubters and proved, once again, that he really is the best in the world. But maybe the most emotional pop of the whole year belonged to AJ Lee. When her music hit, the reaction was just electric. TWSN called it a generational, goosebump-inducing moment, and they weren't wrong. Seeing her team up with her husband, CM Punk, at WrestlePalooza wasn't just some fantasy match, it was this perfect, iconic moment that brought two whole eras of wrestling together.
So you've got the legends redefining their legacies, right? But at the exact same time, a whole new group of superstars were busy cementing their own. These are the wrestlers who didn't just have a good year, they basically became the new establishment.
And where else could we possibly start but with the guy who retired John Cena himself, Gunther. He said it himself, it was the biggest, most meaningful win of his entire career. And by making Cena tap out, Gunther didn't just win a match, he took a legend off the board and locked in his spot as one of the most dominant guys in all of WWE.
And then in the women's division, wow. Just wow. Nobody had a year quite like Io Sky. She was named TWSN's Female Superstar of the Year, and her run was just undeniable. From going over an hour in the Royal Rumble to taking the title from the seemingly unbeatable Rhea Ripley, she was putting on clinic after clinic all year long. She was, without a doubt, the division's most consistently elite performer.
All right, so that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle for 2025, the future. Because with the guard clearly changing, WWE spent the year making some really big, high-stakes bets on the superstars they think are going to carry the company for the next 10 years.
First up, you've got the absolute runaway success story, Stephanie Vacker. In her very first year on the main roster, she grabs not one, but two major titles, the Women's World Championship and the WWE Women's Crown Jewel Championship. Her debut was so explosive it proved the future wasn't just on its way, it was already here.
But, building a new star isn't always a straight line to the top. I mean, just look at the roller coaster journey of Austin Theory. This guy was handpicked to be the next John Cena, but the character just never ever clicked with fans. After a ton of losses and an injury that put him on the shelf, he came back with a totally new identity as this masked guy in a major heel group. It's a complete reboot for a career that was frankly in desperate need of one.
So you might be wondering, why does WWE keep investing so much in Theory? Well, this quote from the Wrestling Observer newsletter really just nails it. The people in charge believe he looks like a star, and because of that look, he's going to keep getting opportunities. This latest reboot isn't just another chance. It might be his last, best shot to finally live up to all that potential.
And that really is where 2025 leaves us. It was a year that saw the end of one massive era, the triumphant return of another, and the absolutely relentless rise of a new guard. And it leaves us with one huge, critical question. As the dust settles on a year of just unbelievable change, who is going to be the one to truly define the next decade of WWE?